A racist security guard found himself suspended after harassing a black police captain he mistook for an ordinary shopper. Imagine walking into a store, minding your own business, only to be followed, questioned, and humiliated simply because of how you look. Now, picture the twist. The security guard has no idea that the person he is profiling is actually the police captain responsible for the entire district. This isn't just another tale of assumptions gone wrong. It's a story of instant karma, justice served cold, and a lesson no one will forget. Stick around to discover how one woman's quiet dignity turned the tables on a security guard who messed with the wrong person. Captain Latisha Johnson was no stranger to challenges. At 41 years old, she had risen through the ranks in a predominantly male police department. A black woman in uniform, respected and feared for her no-nonsense leadership. She had seen it all. But nothing quite prepared her for what happened that day. Leticia had always been intentional about separating work from personal life. As much as she wore her badge proudly, her weekends were like anyone else's. It was a typical Saturday morning. Captain Latisha Johnson, a determined black woman, decided to spend her weekend relaxing. After a stressful week commanding her district, she often set aside her badge, shed her uniform, and enjoyed peaceful moments as an ordinary citizen. That day, she wore jeans, a sweatshirt, sneakers, and tied her hair neatly, no jewelry, no badge, completely unassuming. She drove to a large suburban supermarket, holding a shopping list of essentials, groceries, household items, and a few toys for her beloved dog Max. As she steps through the automatic sliding doors, the fluorescent lights illuminated the bustling scene, shoppers filling carts, squeaking wheels, and the warm aroma of popcorn wafting from the snack counter. Leticia quickly immersed herself in finding the items she needed. But it wasn't long before she sensed something was off. At the end of the aisle stood a tall man in a security uniform, his gaze fixed intently on her. Leticia brushed it off initially, attributing it to her professional instincts. Yet, when she turned into another aisle, there he was again, leaning against a shelf, as never leaving her. He's not even trying to be subtle, Leticia thought, irritation growing. She decided to test her suspicion. Abruptly changing direction, she walked into the cleaning supplies section. Standing before a shelf as if examining a bottle of bleach, from the corner of her eye, she saw him still trailing her. At this point, Leticia had had enough. She turned to face the guard, her voice calm but commanding. "Why are you following me?" The guard raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job." "You seem suspicious." Leticia was stunned and furious. "Suspicious? For shopping?" He smirked. "For looking around and switching aisles repeatedly. We've had problems like this before." His tone carried clear implications. Leticia controlled the anger rising within her. "You mean people who look like me, don't you?" she asked bluntly. The guard hesitated, flustered. "I didn't say that. You didn't have to," Leticia replied, her voice cold and sharp. The confrontation didn't end there. Emboldened by the small badge on his chest, the guard continued. "I'm going to need you to empty your cart. It's store policy." Leticia froze momentarily. She couldn't believe he was accusing her of theft solely based on her appearance. Instead of losing her temper, she took a deep breath. Years of handling tense situations had taught her the value of staying composed. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked, a tone icy and measured. "Empty the cart, or I'll escort you out," he retorted smugly. Leticia decided she'd had enough. Placing her cart firmly on the ground, she said, "Call your manager now." The store manager, a small man in a blue polo shirt, hurried over. Leticia calmly explained the situation, while the guard stubbornly defended his actions, insisting he was just doing his job. At that moment, Leticia reached into her back pocket and produced her gleaming badge. The crowd that had gathered fell silent. With a voice that carried authority and restraint, she declared, "I'm Captain Latisha Johnson, commanding officer of this district. And you just racially profiled the very person you're supposed to serve." The guard's face turned pale, his arrogance evaporating. The manager stammered, "Captain, I had no idea." "Please accept my apologies, that's the problem," Leticia interjected. "He didn't know who I was, but the moment he saw a black woman shopping, he assumed I was a thief." The truth was undeniable. The manager immediately suspended the guard, who stood frozen, unable to respond. As Leticia exited the store, a few shoppers clapped softly, a gesture of respect for her courage and poise. Yet, her heart felt heavy. She paused outside. Glancing back at the supermarket, her thoughts lingered on those who didn't have a badge to shield them from such discrimination. Leticia resolved that this incident wouldn't just end here, it would fuel her mission to inspire change. Have you ever witnessed someone being treated unjustly? If you were in Leticia's shoes, how would you have handled it? Share this story to remind others that before passing judgment, take a moment to think, because you never truly know who you're dealing with.